Hey guys, it's Elijah here from Eli B's Movie Reviews. Welcome to Horror Movie Month. I've been waiting oh my gosh, I've been waiting for a while. I've been waiting so long for this day to finally come. We are starting Horror Movie Month. In case if you guys are not familiar with Horror Movie Month is on my channel, in case some of you are new viewers, it's a segment where I talk about horror movies all the way from late August all the way down to Halloween Day. I will be talking about horror movies. I also want to finish up talking about the Christopher Nolan reviews. So sometime during Horror Movie Month, I will try to squeeze the Christopher Nolan movies in there, and I'll try to talk about them. But other than that, I'm ready for Horror Movie Month. Are you guys ready? I know I definitely am. And for our first review of Horror Movie Month, I'm going to be talking about a really special movie that's considered as a cult classic called the Amityville Horror. Honestly, the Amityville Horror is one of my favorite horror movies. It is a cult phenomenon in a way. This is one of those horror movies that I will never understand why critics hated it. This movie currently holds a 27% on Rotten Tomatoes. What? I will really never understand why critics hated the Amityville Horror. I can understand the film does have some cheesy elements, but it is very fun, and it's a really nice slow burn horror film. What is the Amityville Horror about? Well, in case you guys are unfamiliar with the story, it revolves around this family who moves into this new home where supposed past events occurred, where a father killed his family in that same home. And ever since they've been staying here, weird occurrences have been unfolding and very creepy happenings which eventually drive the family away from the house. The Amityville Horror is without a doubt a very iconic and influential haunted house movie. This is definitely one of the best haunted house movies in my opinion. Like I said, I really do appreciate slow burn horror movies, and the Amityville Horror to me has a lot to offer. The direction is also very well handled too. The shots and the film itself look very nice. The house itself looks very unsettling. And the film gives you the sense of dread just by looking at it. James Brolin and the late Margot Kidder are really great in this movie. They're really great. Honestly, sometimes the acting is hit or miss, but these two, they really do commit as actors in this film. Especially Margot Kidder. She was really adorable in this film, and her performance was very believable, honestly. The child performances are actually surprisingly really good, too. In particular, Natasha Ryan is the best child actress in the Amityville Horror, in my opinion. She really does bring a lot when she shows up on screen. And thankfully, I don't really have to bash down on child actors when it comes to movies, because I'm usually able to appreciate them. But in all honesty, Natasha Ryan was excellent. She really was. The Amityville Horror also has some really memorable scenes. For a cult phenomenon, this film actually does have scenes that will be engraved into your brain. For example, the window scene. If you guys seen the movie, you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. And there's actually two creepy scenes that involve windows. There's one where Margot Kidder looks out of the window at night and sees these beaming eyes just stare at her. It's honestly something very memorable. It's effective too. And the other one is the windows, or the fingers I should say, getting smashed by the window. That scene is gnarly. That's one of the hardest scenes for me to watch in a horror movie, honestly. And considering it's a kid, their child. But it is a very effective scene. At the final acts of the movie, the Amityville Horror delivers like this poltergeist kind of type feeling to it, and I think it's really effective. The final act is the best, have the best moments of the entire film. The slow burn moments really do bring a lot of suspense and tension at times. When we find more about this house, encountering the horrific manifestations that are popping up in the house and threatening this family, and later on try to tear them apart. In particular, James Brolin, which he does an excellent job in this movie, by the way. And during those elements, the film doesn't only have a poltergeist feeling, but it also has a Shining feeling to it too. Especially especially with the mass murder that occurred in the same house that this family moved in. And I wouldn't necessarily say the Amityville Horror is as great as something like The Shining or even Poltergeist. It could have been something like The Shining. Like, I really do think that the Amityville Horror could have been something like The Shining. It could have been just as iconic and influential as The Shining, considering it's only a year older than The Shining. And I wouldn't say it is, but it's still a highly memorable haunted house flick. The Amityville Horror is not a perfect movie, though, and I do have problems with it. Even if I would consider this one of my favorite horror movies, I do have problems with this movie. Like I said, the acting is hit or miss at times. And like I said, I can appreciate the slow burn elements, but there are times where the movie does get slow, honestly. And I don't mean like a good slow. There are times where the movie focuses a bit too much on the family. And there are a few moments where the dialogue is also hit or miss. And there are also a few scenes that are just put in for filler. Like when Margot Kidder's character wakes up from a nightmare and finds out that one of the girls that were murdered by her father in the same home this family currently lives in was shot in the head. It's a tension-filled scene. It is suspenseful, but after that, they almost really never bother about it anymore. It just felt like this. It just felt like this surprise out of nowhere, and then after that, we'll just like carry on with the rest of the film. It's really almost like the filmmaker said, "Okay, we're just gonna give you this little dream sequence surprise, and then we're just gonna go on with the rest of the film." And yeah, that's honestly another flaw I had with the movie. I guess you could say to some people it's a nitpick, but to me it's kind of a flaw. Those are all the flaws that I have with the Amityville Horror. Actually, I really do like this movie. I have a special place in my heart for the Amityville Horror. It is a really, really effective horror film, and like I said, it's one of my favorite horror movies. I don't think it's a masterpiece. I really do not think the Amityville Horror is a masterpiece, but it is definitely, without a doubt, a cult classic that all horror fans should see. And do not listen to what the critics say. Just because those critics that hated this movie, if you haven't seen the Amityville Horror, and if you're a true horror fan, watch the Amityville Horror. Inform your own opinion. I'm going to give the Amityville Horror a B. Thank you guys so much for watching this review. I'm looking forward to reviewing more horror movies for Horror Movie Month. My mind is all over the place. It's because I'm excited talking about more horror movies. But I'm looking forward to reviewing more horror movies for Horror Movie Month. I hope you guys are looking forward to too. I have some really underrated horror movies to talk about, some movies that you guys probably might not have heard of, and some really iconic horror movies I wanted to talk about on my channel for a while. I mentioned one of them in this review. If you guys paid attention to which horror movie I mentioned in this review, you probably know what it is. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this review. You guys are the best. Love every single one of you. Look forward to more reviews that will be coming very soon. And as always, if you're new here and you like what you see here, why not hit that subscribe button to join the EliB/520 community. And I will see you next time. Peace out.